Solana, is Solana getting an ETF? What's going on here? Bankless Nation, it is your last weekly roll-up of June. Man, this month flew by fast. We got a lot to talk about, including it is the week before the Ethereum ETF, the products, at least according to your prediction, David.
My prediction, and others, not just mine.
Yeah, and others. Okay. Yeah. Next week, we get to see if you're right. And like, we'll talk about that. Maybe we should talk about flows as well. Not only that, though, David. I feel like Solana is maybe trying to upstage the Ethereum ETF a little bit. This could be Solana week on Bankless.
Right when the ETH ETF is about to get the spotlight. A surprise Solana ETF filing is filed by Van Eck. Definitely not what people expected. And we'll talk about how likely or not likely that is going to get approved. But nonetheless, an S-1 is getting filed.
Yeah, I don't know whether that's a trust or an ETF or what that actually means.
I'll tell you all about
that. They're also shipping some pretty big things over in the Solana land. ZK compression, we'll talk about that. And these things called blinks, which are like links on Twitter. Also, Blast just dropped a token. We got to talk about that, including the price. I don't know about the price of the Blast token. That's been a topic of conversation.
And then over in the Ethereum land, we get our first Rust execution client. We'll talk about what Reth is and what it means for the Ethereum landscape. And lastly, what the hell is up with prices? They're down, but then they're up, but they're still down. We're going to talk about that. We're going to unpack that. And all the people who are selling Bitcoins, just like people finding Bitcoin, governments just finding Bitcoins just to dump them, and a few other things as well. But I would like to see all of you listeners in Salt Lake City, the best city on earth, October 9th through 11th, 2024.
Wait, is it the best city on earth?
Well, it's up for debate.
To say that.
Yeah.
Well, for a few days,
it'll be the best city on earth because Chris Dixon, Sriram, Keone from Monad, Nick White from Celestia, Ellie from Starkware, Vance and Mike from Framework, Tom Emmer are going to be there. And of course, me and Ryan are going to be there, as well as MiCA Polito and Jason Yanowitz from Blockworks, because we are throwing the Permissionless Conference. Best conference in America. 10% off if you want a ticket with Bankless 10. 30% off if you are a Bankless citizen. You can get that link in the Discord, or if your show notes is on your cool little website. And yeah, this is gonna be really, really sick. We have a pretty Chad lineup. Mike Novogratz is gonna be there. It's very, very cool. October 9th through 11th. The Bloomberg boys. Yep, exactly. Yeah. Basically everyone is gonna be there. And like, why is everyone gonna be there? Because between Bankless and Blockworks, the two media organizations who know how to coordinate and orchestrate content, know everyone in crypto, and they're like, hey, you came onto my podcast, now go to my conference.
It's the 3 Bs. Bankless, Blockworks, bull market. That's what you need to know. Come to Salt Lake City. Price goes up every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks.
As well.
This happened last time, and I'm sure a lot of you were like, I keep hearing how David and Ryan are telling me that the prices go up. And then you came because you bought a last minute ticket. You could just get ahead of that now.
Kind of like the price of crypto. All right. You don't want to wait too long. No. You gotta buy when things are low because they have a tendency to go up and get way ahead of things. Speaking of that, let's talk about markets on the week. And thanks to our friends and sponsors over at KRAKEN for these beautiful charts.
No, they're ugly. Well, they're beautiful, but they're down.
Yeah, well, they're. I guess we can only compliment them when they're up, David. Yeah. Is that you're just a fair weather friend to these charts? Well, I guess we're down then. You spoiled it. Yep. You spoiled the news here. How bad are we down?
Bitcoin down 5% at the week, currently at 61,800. It's coming up a little bit. We're doing a dead cat bounce thing, which could turn into a real bounce. ETH doing something similar. Mt.Gox. We talked about this in a midweek episode, but if you didn't listen to that, Mt.Gox is finally ready to distribute the Bitcoin. We are finally going to remove this Mt.Gox sell pressure overhang FUD that has plagued the industry as long as I have been in crypto. So if you don't know...
Did you know Mt.Gox is not a real mountain? I just learned this on your Twitter feed earlier this week.
How dare they? It's not. If it was a real mountain, I would have loved to climb it, but no, it's not. Instead, it's just.
Do you know
fun.
the history? Why is it called Mt.Gox?
Magic the Gathering online exchange. It used to be an online exchange for Magic the Gathering cards, and then Mark Karpellis, who had that URL, who had that like infrastructure, was like, well, now I like Bitcoin, so now I'm gonna let it trade Bitcoins.
So there was never really a mount to it. Like the mount is just stands for magic.
Yeah, exactly.
Like MT.Gox.
Yeah,
MT.Gox, really.
It was actually MTG:0x. because online exchange, Magic the Gathering,
not
online exchange.
A mountain.
Yeah.
You're just like not even named a mountain.
Right.
It's Magic the Gathering. Anyway,
this
what's
is
the history
exactly
here?
the information that people claim for us. Okay, it was founded in 2010. It suffered a security breach in 2014. People, longtime Bitcoiners who were here before the Mt.Gox hack, experienced the Mt.Gox hack. It was like, oh, well, there goes and that's the end of Bitcoin. That was the end of that experiment. Bummer. Like Andreas Antonopoulos, like the OGs of OG Bitcoiners, like, well, like that was fun, but oh well. So loss of 850,000 Bitcoins, of which only 140,000 Bitcoins were recovered. 140,000 Bitcoins in 2014 is actually not it's not a low amount of money. Now it's a huge amount of money because Bitcoin has gone up.
Hold on. So a loss of 850K Bitcoin?
Yeah, to the Mt.Gox attacker.
Okay.
Yep.
And then all of that went to the Mt.Gox attacker. It was not recoverable. That's not what's in bankruptcy. The 140,000
is
Bitcoin
what was left. Yeah.
What happened to the 850K? I don't even remember my Bitcoin lore.
Yeah, if you know, you should tell me. If anyone knows where that Bitcoin went.
Michael Saylor's got some of it, maybe. He's been buying it.
Okay, so 140,000 Bitcoins are going to be distributed. Not all of it all at once. And so there are 127,000 creditors of Mt.Gox, which is pretty big. That's $9.4 billion in both Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, mostly Bitcoin. There are some like nuances, some like details about how it's getting released. It's not getting all released all in one lump sum, like some fudsters would like to have you believe. But it is going to a bulk of it, a big chunk of it is getting distributed in early July, which is coming up next week and week after. People fear that will be sell pressure because these people have been locked up since 2014. Like surprise, surprise, Bitcoin's got up very bigly since 2014. And so people think that like they're going to want to cash out on their gains. I think the answer is a lot more nuanced. You can listen to our episode about that. Claims on Mt.Gox have been a thing that you could have sold. And so it's not like sellers have been meaningfully locked up for a very long time. They could have sold their claims to Mt.Gox if they really wanted liquidity. And so claims have been like churned around. A lot of hedge funds have bought claims, like VC funds have bought claims because it's basically buying discounted Bitcoin. If you're a long-term holder, you might as well do it. I kind of think the sell pressure from this is overblown. It's kind of going to be cool to get like this Bitcoin kind of reintroduced into the supply. It's not necessarily bullish. Actually, it's just not bullish. It is bearish in the sense that like there can only be sell pressure from this. Yeah. I just think the market might have already like priced in too much sell pressure versus what's actually coming.
On Monday, we had see this candle on the chart. We had an 8% down on Monday, right? And that was the market reacting to this news. But we're down 5%
or
on the
people
week.
front running the news is also a conspiracy.
We're down 5% on the week. I guess that feels about right to me though.
Sure.
Like 5% is not crazy. I mean that's and like just to give you some benchmarks here. We're talking about 142,000 Bitcoin. Just some context here. Since the beginning of the opening of the Bitcoin ETF, BlackRock has acquired 2 Mt.Gox worth of Bitcoins, about 300,000 Bitcoin. So that's what we're talking about here. Mm-hmm. There is some sell pressure, right? Even if you take the full amount, I know you're talking about creditors and that sort of thing, but like even if you took the full amount, I mean, the Bitcoin ETF more than pays for it, right? This is kind of like a few months of Michael Saylor dollar cost averaging in. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, can get us close to that. So it's not all that much, I guess, in the scheme of things.
I will also say it is more bearish Bitcoin and bullish the rest of the market because these Bitcoins were lost in 2014. You know, it didn't exist in 2014. Ethereum, Solana, like most relevant altcoins.
Yeah.
And so like if any of these Bitcoin holders have like become not like Bitcoiners, they could be selling their Bitcoins for like other tokens.
Yeah. Still, market doesn't like
selling.
Or
dollars or USDC. Is also another token.
Gox is not the only thing dumping on us too. The German government is dumping on us too. So every week, like we see from a government address that like Germany owns, they're selling Bitcoin, and they acquired about $3 billion worth of Bitcoin in like seizures from various like kind of nefarious legal exchanges and that sort of thing. So they're just selling it. They're not holding it. And this is actually another fun fact. It's not just the government of Germany, but yesterday came out that the U.S. government is selling some of its Bitcoin. It just sold, here's
also from
a
criminals.
Tweet. Yeah, 240 million worth of Bitcoin to Coinbase Prime. So they are dollar cost averaging out with the seized Bitcoin. They're selling it. But here's a fun fact for you. This comes out on Friday. So David, this is a Friday fun fact. You ready for this? Okay, so the fun fact is the US government owns the most Bitcoin of any other nation state. So it owns about 214 Bitcoins. That's like 1.5x Mt.Gox worth of Bitcoins right now. And that's the largest by far. So that's the first fun fact. The second is that's still less than Michael Saylor owes.
So, not by a lot, actually. Michael Saylor owns 226,000 Bitcoins, and the U.S. government has 214,000 Bitcoins. I know it's like too complicated to do the interagency stuff like this for the government.
Yeah.
But they should just transfer it to the Federal Reserve.
Back the dollar?
Just why do they have to sell it? Just put it in the bank.
I don't know, but does this give, like, it feels like a nasty precedent, all right? So U.S. government goes and seizes this criminal assets, and then you just put it on their balance sheet? I don't know. There's something kind of...
Well, they're pocketing cash either way. It's not like where the dollar's going. It's not like they're donating it to charity.
Yeah, that's true. Where are the dollars going when they seize property like this? This is quite the gain. I mean, it's quite the incentive to go seize
$13 billion.
Huh. Yeah, got to find something wrong with the Bankless podcast guys and go like seize some assets, huh?
Let's not give them any ideas. All right, moving on to Ether. Ether starting the week at $3,500, down 2% on the week to where it is now $3,460 at the time of recording. So down just a little bit. But ETH Tailwinds in the second half of the year from Matt Hogan. I would like to tell you about them. This is a list of all the reasons why you can be bullish ETH. And of course, we put it in the roll up. Significant new demand pending the ETH ETF approval, which we know is coming. We think is coming next week. Constrained supply. That's the ultrasound money meme. Improved regulatory clarity. I think was bullish for the entire market, but especially for Ether after the SEC dropped its consensus lawsuit. But I would also say that's like equally bullish any other token that was at risk of becoming a security, like Solana, like anything else that's like a centrally issued smart contract platform. So that's like bullish for the entire market. And then significant improved UX, thank you, base institutional adoption, BlackRock, and then also cycle timing, macro conditions, and the election. So Matt just kind of like listing out all the reasons to be bullish, which I appreciate that in these trying times.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I need that hopium on the week because like we were making the comment that sentiment has switched very bearish, sucks. Right?
Yeah.
Right? Not on Bankless. Okay, we are still bullish.
Never.
So inject this hopium right into your veins.
I've never been bearish once.
You've never? Yeah, you have. You've been bearish.
No, I haven't.
Not this year. In previous years. Okay. How about the global crypto market cap? We're at 2.14. How are you feeling about this?
2.41. Nice try. That's why I do it.
Come on. A decimal place. I'm going to find another decimal place and correct you. Okay, so here's kind of a comment. You know, just like zoom out a little bit. This is Eric.eth saying, you could have walked away 16 weeks ago and ETH and Bitcoin would be the same price. You're only missing a boring plus 15% and negative 15% range. Quit overreacting. Mm-hmm. What is this market? This is a sideways cool off. Just hold and chill. People panicking. Like a lot of market sentiment.
And interweek emotions are just never worthwhile to listen to.
We are in a plus 15, minus 15% band. It's like not the end of the world. Like, I mean, look at this chart.
It's like the third inning stretch of the bull market.
Yeah. Like, okay. So let's look at this bull cycle from, I guess, a, total crypto market cap perspective. This is what you asked for, David. This is like the stair step up and then kind of a pause. And then another, hopefully, stair step up, and then maybe a pause. Like it's nice and gradual. Remember we did this whole roll up where you're playing like slow and steady type of, like wishing your desires in the market. You're getting your wish.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Honestly, like I'm starting to get ready to call the 4-year cycle is dead. We need to like crab for longer. And maybe we won't do that if the ETH ETF is as like good as I want it to be.
Yeah.
But like I think it would be great if the 4-year cycles just went away. They have to go away because that's just a complete anomaly. Like that's appropriate for when things are young and market caps are low. But if we want all the tokenized stocks on Ethereum and all of these, we want crypto to take over the world, you can't have 4-year cycles. It has to like smooth out over time. And so if this is what we're getting, a smoothing out and eliminating of the 4-year cycles, that's great. That's fantastic.
I'm still subscribed to the 4-year cycle belief, but
really?
I will say, I think we will stair step to the 4-year cycle. I think that's a possibility, all the way to stair step to 10 trillion. That sounds good to me.
Okay, well, where's the next stair, Mr. Stair Step?
After the summer, September, late August, September.
How trillion? How many trillions?
How many trillions? You want me to actually predict every single stair step?
Yeah.
Actually, I think what'll happen is, to be honest, I don't think it'll stair step. Now that you called me out.
From 2.5 to 10.
Yeah, it's been stair stepping.
We're
right
taking
now.
like 4 steps.
Yeah, like it's stair stepping because it's just crypto natives, right? And I still think that we'll get to some euphoria. It won't be as extreme as previous euphoria. Just what I like about this setup and why I think Eric's right is because despite the sentiment on crypto Twitter, right? Builders are continuing to build. Like there's so much going on. And it's just like nice to just let that set in. So, and then like get retail interested when we have like the stuff fully built. Speaking of that, this is a quick L2 update brought to you by our friends over at Mantle. It was actually rollup.wtf. This is a cool chart of like TPS in real time, right? Like updates every microsecond, some kind of a microsecond
really
for
fast.
Ethereum. And we're at right now we're at about 307, 305, 300, 286. Yeah, it adjusts as I'm speaking. TPS, transactions per second. It's a measure of mega gas as well. It's just a measure of total transactions per second across the Ethereum ecosystem. And it like updates all of this across all rollups in real time. And I just love it. Like I
think it's so cool.
I stared at this for like a good 90 seconds, probably an embarrassingly long time.
Just like transfixed all the transactions.
Transfixed.
It's pretty cool just to see all the rollup activity happening in one place. You can see Ethereum like flex up and down. It's gonna be really cool when we have some like gas intensive day where like prices are super volatile. Either we're going up a lot, we're going down a lot. People are getting liquidated or whatever. I want to see like the activity on that day because like this is like watching the pulse of Ethereum. Like I'm watching a circulation system happening right now, and I'm watching because like TPS can flex up, MGAS, milligas can flex up. And so I remember watching like being like in my young neophyte days of Ethereum and be like, oh, like gas is up today, gas is down today. That's so cool that you can watch gas go up and down. But now we have TPS, milligas, kilobytes a second. We can watch all of these different metrics. Like you can watch the internet of value like flex and change.
Like a living organism almost, right? That's why it's so fascinating. And imagine this chart, David, or imagine the screen when you have like thousands of different rollups, right? And you have like thousands of TPS and then tens of thousands of TPS, and the spikes are that high. Like it feels like the birth of something new. That's anyway. I don't know if Bankless listeners will spend 90 seconds thinking about it, but
they should do more. They should.
They should. David, give us an ETF update. Let's start with Bitcoin, and then we'll get to Ethereum.
Spot Bitcoin ETF flows are not changing. They're still flat. There's no update. We had a spiky update in the beginning of June. Towards the end of June, it's kind of just been very slowly leaking outflows. We had kind of a negative day where we lost 4.5 thousand Bitcoins in the ETFs. Yesterday was a positive day, but we are just not doing anything really. It's not going up. It's not going down.
Yesterday was the first positive day in a week, right? Because we had like a week of negative days.
Yeah, it's the first positive day since the 13th. But like all the negative days haven't been like big.
Yeah,
except for the 25th. The 25th was pretty big. That was a negative 4.5 thousand day. Okay. Today, so far, we are up 700 Bitcoins.
Well, let's talk about the new kid on the block that's about to enter maybe next week. I'm sure we'll have some podcasts about this if it happens next week. So give us a status on the Ethereum ETF filings.
Right now, we are entering the fee war era of the ETF S-1 amendments. And so all of these different S-1 filers are jostling for fees. So far, the fees of the ETH ETFs that we know of, Franklin Templeton coming in at 0.19%. I believe that's 19 bips. Okay. VanEck got 20%. I believe that's 20 bips. But I think VanEck is going to come in feeless for a really long time. This is what Matthew Siegel says. VanEck to waive fee initially on spot Ethereum ETFs. He doesn't give a time. I would imagine maybe up to 6 months for zero fees. And then a take from Nate Gerasi, who says, for the record, I expect a Grayscale to meaningfully undercut everyone on fees with the ETH mini trust, which is what they're doing with the Bitcoin mini trust, trying to hold on to the ETH in their in the Grayscale trust,
because they'll be bleeding from they'll be bleeding
unless they want to bleed from their trust that has like 2.5% fees, and they want to bleed it into their mini trust, which will have something very low.
Yeah, and this is the other take on timing. All spot ETH ETF S-1 amendments are in. They're in. And it seemed like over the last couple of weeks, there's like some mild corrections, but like not that much. Yeah. So it feels like the setup maybe before the product release.
Right. And even Garen Gensler this week made a comment saying like the ETH ETF process is going smoothly, which was like the weirdest thing to hear out of Gary Gensler. I'm just like, do I align with
Gary.
that statement?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. And by the way, the issuers are Bitwise, Fidelity, 21 shares, which is like ARK Invest plus 21 shares, Grayscale, of course, Franklin Templeton, Van Eck, iShares. iShares is BlackRock, yes?
Yes, that's correct.
And Invesco. So some biggies there. All right, let's talk about flows. So Matt Hogan from Bitwise put together an analysis. I think we'll do an entire episode on this because there are some people that are doubting the Ethereum ETF inflows and some people who are very bearish. Like I saw some estimates of just like $1 billion
half
in
$1 billion of demand for the ETH ETF.
Like not very much. What does Matt Hogan say? What's his estimate?
Matt Hogan's estimate, and this has been corroborated by other people that I know are in the know. He says the Ethereum exchange traded products will attract $15 billion in net flows in their first 18 months. So a little bit less than $1 billion a month. And then he gives out a big thread as to how he got to that estimate. And this whole thread, which I don't have enough time to go through, is linked in the show notes. But the TLDR is about $1 billion a month coming up to 18 months, which is pretty strong.
That'd be nice. That's
would be
bullish.
That's a lot.
David, one other thing in the market section before we move on to other things is airdrops. So over the weekend, you sent me this tweet. I was like not paying attention.
This tweet kind of like made my blood boil.
Yeah, and you were like, "Oh man, this." I forget what you said. Like, look at this asshole or something.
I think I said like, "Fuck this guy."
Okay, who is this? What are we looking at? And
I don't know.
The lesson
it's
here?
some loser who says, "Hey ZK Sync and on account. Hey, it tags ZK Sync. Just want to let you know that I finally finished transferring the tokens from my 350 wallets, averaging 18,800 ZK tokens per wallet. Shame I didn't have enough money to buy a Lambo and a decent villa in Beverly Hills. I expected a lot more. You failed." This is a guy just flexing that he farmed the ZK Sync airdrop with 350 wallets.
Screenshot too, right?
Screenshot. So. Yeah. I guess there's no actual proof here, but like we know that there are accounts like this. And like the audacity just to go on Twitter and like brag about it. I mean, there's no cost to doing so other than people like me thinking you're an asshole.
Well, actually, I think there's more too to substantiate this. Like he goes through the detailed process of like how I saw some of the details. He was talking about like the complicated way he sort of made his footprint on chain look like a real human and like the extent the lengths he took to do this. It was so fairly sophisticated and made like $1.1
million. Yeah. So if that was like your full-time job for the like 18 months of time that ZK Sync era has been up and running, like $1.1 million over 18 months, like that's a payday.
It's just like, hey, look, I ruined this for everyone. Cool. I mean, this is a take that we had, 6 weeks ago. This cycle is cooked. There's a podcast episode about this. We were mainly talking about airdrops. And it's like, if it was cooked then, right now, it is like charred. It is like you left the meat on the grill overnight. And it's like
too
burnt.
Long.
It is just black. It is charred. To me, this is kind of like the end of the last airdrop meta. Do you agree with this?
Yeah, I mean, there's still going to be some airdrops because people made the choice to do that like many, many months ago. And so they're just going to have that momentum is going to carry them forward. But new companies who are starting to think about this now are not thinking about airdrops. They're thinking about a different distribution mechanism. Yeah,
they have to think about it in a different way. It has to be more Sybil resistant, maybe slower easing into the drop, like maybe some sort of putting in steps to quest for the community to earn it. Something like that has to take over here because it seems like right now the surest way to get even crypto Twitter to hate you is to drop a token.
It's like that, Right, even this guy was like, he's clearly who got paid by ZK Sync the most.
Yeah,
is still calling ZK Sync chumps. Yeah,
he's like, hey, thankful. Morons, I scam from you.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of airdrops, David, you got to give me an update on the Blast token, which just dropped last week. And seriously, we got to talk about price because that's been interesting as well. Also, Solana, is Solana getting an ETF? We didn't mention it when we were talking about Bitcoin and Ethereum, but like, what's going on here?
It's getting a filing.
Yeah, so we'll talk about all that and more. But before we do, we want to thank the sponsors that made this possible, including our recommended crypto exchange, KRAKEN. go create an account.
If you want a crypto trading experience backed by world-class security and award-winning support teams, then head over to KRAKEN, one of the longest-standing and most secure crypto platforms in the world. KRAKEN is on a journey to build a more accessible, inclusive, and fair financial system, making it simple and secure for everyone, everywhere, to trade crypto. KRAKEN's intuitive trading tools are designed to grow with you, empowering you to make your first or your 100th trade in just a few clicks. And there's an award-winning client support team available 24/7 to help you along the way, along with a whole range of educational guides, articles, and videos. With products and features like KRAKEN Pro and KRAKEN NFT Marketplace and a seamless app to bring it all together, it's really the perfect place to get your complete crypto experience. So check out the simple, secure, and powerful way for everyone to trade crypto, whether you're a complete beginner or a seasoned pro. Go to kraken.com/bankless to see what crypto can be. Not investment advice. Crypto trading involves risk of loss. CELO is the mobile-first and EVM-compatible blockchain that's built for the real world and designed for fast, low-cost payments worldwide, driving real-world use cases like Opera MiniPay, one of the fastest-growing Web3 wallets with over 2 million users across Africa. CELO is seeing a meteoric rise with over 375 million transactions and 1 million monthly active users. Not to mention Tether and Circle just deployed native USDT and USDC on CELO, supported by leading exchanges like Binance. And now, CELO is looking to come home to Ethereum as a layer 2. With a game-changing proposal, core contributors at C Labs aims to leverage Optimism's OP stack, pioneering a transition as the biggest L1 to become a layer 2, with testnet arriving as early as summer 2024. With the CELO layer 2, gas fees will stay low and users can even pay for gas using ERC20 tokens, including native USDC and USDT, sending crypto to phone numbers across wallets using Social Connect. But CELO is a community-governed protocol. Make your voice heard in the CELO forum to shape the future of Ethereum. Follow @CELO on Twitter and explore the ecosystem built for the real world on celo.org/quests. Are you worried about the security of your cross-chain transactions? Cross chains with confidence using Transporter, the revolutionary token bridging app designed to give you peace of mind. Powered by Chainlink CCIP, Transporter is your trusted gateway for securely moving assets like ETH, native USDC, and Link, and so many more across some of your favorite blockchains. Over $2.8 billion has been hacked from token bridges to date. Transporter puts a stop to this by ensuring your transfers are protected by the most robust security features available. Chainlink CCIP provides level 5 security, backed by multiple decentralized Oracle networks and an independent risk management network. Transporter also provides real-time tracking throughout your transaction with its newly engineered user experience, so you'll never have to second guess the safety or location of your assets ever again. And the best part, Transporter makes it simple. Whether you're a blockchain beginner or a seasoned trader, Transporter's intuitive interface lets you execute cross-chain transactions with just a few clicks. No additional fees, just a low cost for using CCIP, which can be paid in Link or your blockchain's native gas token. But don't just take my word for it. See for yourself why Transporter offers a stress-free bridging experience. Experience the future of token bridging at transporter.io and just send it. Breaking tweet this morning, Thursday morning, from Matthew Siegel, who's the head of digital assets at VanEck, saying, I'm excited to announce that VanEck has just filed for the first Solana exchange-traded fund ETF in the United States, and then goes through some of his thought process to why they wanted to file this thing. This kind of came as a shock because we have been told many, many times that the process for getting an ETF, a crypto ETF, is first you get a futures ETF in order to get price discovery happening on the futures ETF, and then have spot to futures correlation be proved. Once it's proved, then you can legitimately go to the SEC and get your ETF. That has been the hurdle that the Gensler administration has said exists. And that's why the industry has been like, well, there's no new ETFs coming for a long time, because you first need years of just price on a futures ETF first. Nonetheless, they have filed this S-1, which is an application for a Solana ETF, which is the first part of the process. James Seyfert here says, early thoughts are that this only has a shot to launch sometime in 2025 if we have a new administration in the White House and the SEC. Even then, it's not guaranteed. And so I think James is saying maybe in 2025, if Trump gets elected and also replaces the SEC with pro-crypto people, then we can be kind of optimistic about this ETF. He also continues and says, there's no deadline yet for this ETF because this filing is just an S1 at the moment. I don't see a 19B4 filing yet, which would give us an idea of timing, deadline timing. If they were to file a 19B4 today, the deadline would be sometime around mid-March 2025. Eric Balachuna says, the knee-jerk reaction here to this is, oh, this will never be approved because there aren't Solana futures. I agree, but if change at the president of the United States, I think anything is possible. Just imagine Hester Peirce or someone like that running the SEC. So Hester Peirce won't be running the SEC. She just wants to move on. This is known. So it would have to be someone else running the SEC. But nonetheless, it's a shot on goal. It's an attempt to get a Solana ETF. Overall, Solana is up 7% on the news today.
I mean, I think those takes are right. I mean, there is some conceivable way this could happen if you had like a Trump presidency, let's say, and he followed through on this promise to like dismantle the anti-crypto army, and he gets Gensler out in some way and like brings in someone who is a super crypto favorable, and they just start stamping things, like doing favors basically for the crypto industry. So you could see it happen in that way. And it is possible to bypass the like commodities CME traded ETF first, right? It's just
if that's a matter of policy by the SEC. The current SEC policy is that no, you can't do that, but that's a matter of policy that could be changed.
One question I had for you though, when I first saw this, I was like, oh, this isn't an ETF filing. This is a trust. Like Grayscale has a Solana trust in the same way they have an Ethereum trust, and they had a Bitcoin trust. They have an Ethereum Classic. They have trusts for like a lot of different assets, even DeFi assets, right? And I thought it was that. Is it that? Is this a trust?
It's not that. I asked about like what the hell is this trust word doing in here then? And apparently it's just like a technical detail. You're safe to ignore the fact that that trust is here. It is the same exact structure as the ETH and Bitcoin's ETFs.
Last take on this for me is just, I think this is partially a symptom of all the competitors. You know, we read all the competitors out, like Franklin Templeton, Fidelity, BlackRock, VanEck, all of them. They're now in this race to get ahead of one another in terms of marketing. So like this is VanEck saying, me first, I'm doing this first, right? So it's kind of like healthy competition. It's healthy competition, and I think it'll push ETFs forward as well.
I think really this is kind of like opening up the war of like the many versus few ETFs. Like, will BlackRock ever issue a Dogecoin ETF? Like, no. They probably will not do that.
You think so?
They probably won't do that.
I can't even say that now at this point.
But like VanEck will probably do a Dogecoin ETF. And so there's going to be some issuers who's like, yeah, we're just going to ETF everything. And then there's going to be some issuers who are like, I'm not going to play in that game. And so I think this is VanEck saying like, yo, we're gonna ETF this shit. Like, you guys like tokenization? No, we're gonna ETF these things. Securitize is that word.
All right, I said it was Solana week in the intro, David. It is. We got some more stuff on Solana. So Blinks and ZK compression. These are two things hitting the Solana ecosystem. Can you first start with Blinks? Explain this. What are Blinks, David?
Blinks, blockchain links. Put that together, you get a blink. This is something that was introduced into the Solana world. This is kind of like if your frame of mind starts with a Farcaster frame, that's the place to start. It is an embedded, it's a link. That's an embedded link that you can paste over the internet that will allow action-aware clients, which is like your browser extension, like a Phantom, for example, or anything who is like integrated with this, to display additional capabilities for your user. So on a website, a blink might immediately trigger a transaction preview in a wallet so that you like don't have to go to your app that would be on Solana. So you don't have to open up Jupyter, but a Jupyter blink inside of a tweet would make a little frame that shows Jupyter and maybe some token that you might want to buy or something, or some like Solana NFT. And so the idea is that this just pushes the ability to interact with Solana to like websites just via a URL. And so just want to emphasize, you need to have an extension that opens up this portal to Solana. And so Phantom is one of these things. They are integrating this. And so if you have the Phantom on your browser, in your browser, and then you have a blink and a tweet, then this frame will show up inside of Twitter, which will let you do something. It's pretty cool.
I think this is really cool. And big fan of the frames functionality in Farcaster. And I wonder if this functionality is just basically borrowed that idea and just like brought it to other places. This is basically how it looks. So if you're writing a tweet and you format the tweet in kind of a certain way that conforms to kind of the blink standard, then it can be expanded into like just kind of a mini embedded app inside Twitter for those that have the wallet extension that is required, and also the functionality turned on. So here's how it looks in like Phantom. You go into Phantom and you enable Solana actions on x.com. So it's not all websites, but right now it's on x.com. Of course, like these things can be risky in the same way they are in
I'm going to be
Farcaster.
asking for some transaction simulation to come on alongside with this. I would like to know exactly what I'm signing first.
Yeah, and that's very important. It's important on Farcaster as well. But this is just a great place to get like a crypto native money verbs out there, basically like, you know, pay, mint, claim, all of these different money verbs that we've created embedded inside of Web2 experiences. So it's a cool move. I do think that Ethereum layer 2s will be moving on this too, and they should be moving. Now it's Ethereum layer 2's a chance to go copy something from Solana. Because
Jesse,
I'm sure Base is looking at this right now. Like OP Stack, Arbitrum, they're all looking at this and they're being like, hey, this is pretty cool. And like, well done to Solana for pushing the envelope on user experience.
Here's a take out of Nader Dabbit, who says, having built many Farcaster frames, I've also checked out Solana Blinks and see a lot of similarities, but Blinks meets users where they already are, which is potentially much more powerful and viral. This is an example of an ecosystem coming up with a great idea that will also benefit everyone outside of that ecosystem. I'm excited to see more chains support this in the future. Yeah, so it's really like a primitive. It's that like many, the reason why I like this is that it's the opposite of like whatever chainy is. Like you're not exposed to chaininess, you're exposed to Twitter. And then like Solana is like happening in the background.
Oh, you mean the blockchain is abstracted basically?
Exactly.
Completely.
Yeah, like abstraction. Yeah. I'm trying to make my chainy word happen. It's like,
I get it.
We're making things less chainy.
Yeah.
And like having like financial actions inside of like via some client that's aware inside of your Twitter, inside of your tweets, that's very not chainy.
It's not chainy. It's more powerful. It's potentially more viral, right? It's how we start onboarding more people. Not the only release coming out of Solana that was notable this week. Also this, ZK Compression. Can you explain this one to me?
ZK Compression, this is a collaboration between two different Solana ecosystem companies, Light Protocol and Helios Labs. Helios is a RPC provider. ZK Compression allows Solana State to scale. We all know what ZK Compression does. Like start with a ZK rollup as your mental model. But the idea is you compress a lot of Solana activity, a lot of bundles, and you only post the proof in Solana active state. And so this is kind of similar to how ZK rollups on Ethereum would post proofs to call data before Ethereum had blobs. Solana has active state and it also has inactive state. And Solana charges rent on the amount of data posted to active state, I believe. And so if you do a lot of transactions, you bundle them up and then post the data, which is the big expensive part, into inactive state, and then you just post the proof to active state, you can get a cost efficiency that's improved by up to 160 to 5,000 times, which is a lot. And so it's somewhere, it's not a layer 2 because there's not an off layer 1 blockchain that holds state on its own. All of the data is held in the Solana layer 1. It's not exactly not a layer 2 because it is like off-chain compute using ZK compression. It's somewhere between a mix of a layer 2 and like a stateless client.
Yeah, almost. I also think about a coprocessor as maybe a term in kind
like
of the Ethereum world
too.
that is also adjacent to this. And the net of it is, it's basically Solana using ZK technology to support more throughput and at lower fees, which is very cool and pretty impressive. Now, I still have some questions on this. I want to do a deep dive, but here's a conclusion tweet from Saigar. Number 1, account data is mostly stored off-chain. That's something I'm not sure about. I need to find out more about that.
My rule of thumb for a layer 2 is if there is data that you need to reconstruct the state to have like full trustlessness, full banklessness, and the data isn't on the layer 1 and it's held somewhere else, that's a layer 2.
It's layer 2.
That's a layer 2.
You're coming down on this argument, huh?
Yeah. I mean, if there's data that's stored that you need to process this in order to make this work, and that isn't stored on Solana, then it's stored somewhere else, and whatever that somewhere else is a layer 2.
Yeah, all right.
Well, it's a validium.
Is this a semantics debate? Is this kind of a taxonomy nomenclature type debate? This is a debate that was being held on crypto. Like, is this a rollup? Maybe. It depends on what your definition is.
It's a very integrated rollup, but if there's something off chain, it's a layer 2.
All right. Well, David, you might like this meme. We've renamed rollups to ZK Compression so that our marketing team doesn't have to delete old tweets. Making fun of, I think, Solana's reluctance to say layer 2 or rollup.
And totally we'll never say layer 2s.
Yeah, I don't know. What's a layer 2 anyway is kind of a question. I do want to dive further into what the limitations of this system might be as well, because like that's unclear to me. So more to discover here, but still a really cool ship by Solana.
All right, last up for the big news of the week. Blast finally launched their airdrop. The Blast token is out and about in the wild. 17% was dropped to two different categories of people, split 50-50 down the middle. Points holders and gold holders. Gold was one of the growth campaigns out of Blast. Coming in at a whopping $2 billion in fully diluted valuation, which is a 1-to-1 ratio of its $2 billion of TVL. Which is actually kind of meaningfully lower than what other layer 2s are being valued at. $2.3 billion valuations, excuse me. 50% of the total distribution will go to quote unquote the community. That is incentives that will get spun out over time. That's also probably some sort of DAO, community run DAO. 25.5% to the core team, 16.5% to investors, and 8% to a foundation. Also, Blur, which was Pac-Man's first project, was also allocated 3% of Blast, who they say will go to Blur traders and Blur holders in Season 3, and even more in Season 4 as well. A take out of Olympio here says, airdrop quota 17% is far above the standards, and that looks very good, but these vesting mechanics, although good for the chain to keep usage in TVL, are detrimental to top users who are the most responsible for the TVL used to boost metrics and receive funding, aka, this is an important part of this, for the top 1,000 wallets that received the airdrops, the top 1,000 airdrop recipients who got the most, they are locked up.
Oh, really?
They are vesting. They are vesting. And so there's a friction here that Olympio is citing. It's well, these are your most committed, loyal people who really boosted your metrics the most, and you locked them up.
Well, if they're loyal, then do they have a problem with being locked up?
Maybe. I don't know.
Then why not?
I'm not one of those people. You have 30 days to claim. So that's actually a relatively short claiming window. There, you can definitely use Bankless claimables. Don't click any scary links. That's why we have Bankless claimables. There is a link in the show notes.
Can I ask you a question, David? So,
sure.
Knowing that TVL was about $2 billion on Blast, it's one of the top 5, at least layer 2s. I don't know where it sits right now. I could go check that, but it's a big layer 2. What did you expect the fully diluted valuation to actually be?
I would say 2 billion is lower than my expectations. Knowing that Arbitrum and Optimism are coming in at $8 billion though, it's not that much lower. 3 billion maybe, but we're in the ballpark.
It's all surprising me.
We're not doing big valuations this year.
Not for layer 2s in particular, right? So 2 billion TVL and 2 billion FTV. Wow, that's low. Even last week we were talking about ZK Sync coming in at what is it, 4 billion FTV?
Yeah.
I mean, not big for these layer 2s right now.
Not massive, yeah. But honestly, a lot of TVL, a lot of valuations have always been inflated in crypto. So I don't mind that we're doing
coming
less
back
of
down
that.
to earth. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We're not. Yeah, we're starting low. We start low, go high.
I promise it's not cope, guys. I promise it's not cope.
All right, coming up next, we're going to talk about Reth Client 1.0 and this new client, this new highly optimized Ethereum client going live. We'll talk about what that means for the Ethereum landscape. Ryan is going to talk to us about MiCA while I scroll my phone. And Gary
MiCA's important.
And Gary Gensler takes 3 L's? 2 L's. Gary Gensler takes some L's.
Not
we'll
enough.
count them when we get there. Not enough, yeah. But first, a moment to talk about some sponsors that make this show possible, especially MANTLE, a layer 2 with plenty of yield and dApps. So go check out the link in the show notes to get started with MANTLE. Let's go hear from them right now. New projects are coming online to the MANTLE layer 2 every single week. Why is this happening? Maybe it's because MANTLE has been on the frontier of layer 2 design architecture since it first started building MANTLE DA, powered by technology from EigenDA. Maybe it's because users are coming onto the MANTLE layer 2 to capture some of the highest yields available in DeFi, and to automatically receive the points and tokens being accrued by the $3 billion MANTLE treasury in the MANTLE reward station. Maybe it's because the MANTLE team is one of the most helpful teams to build with, giving you grants, liquidity support, and venture partners to help bootstrap your MANTLE application. Maybe it's all of these reasons all put together. So if you're a dev and you want to build on one of the best foundations in crypto, or you're a user looking to claim some ownership on MANTLE's DeFi apps, click the link in the show notes to getting started with MANTLE. ARBITRUM is the leading Ethereum scaling solution that is home to hundreds of decentralized applications. ARBITRUM's technology allows you to interact with Ethereum at scale with low fees and faster transactions. ARBITRUM has the leading DeFi ecosystem, strong infrastructure options, flourishing NFTs, and is quickly becoming the Web3 gaming hub. Explore the ecosystem at portal.arbitrum.io. Are you looking to permissionlessly launch your own Arbitrum Orbit chain? Arbitrum Orbit allows anyone to utilize Arbitrum's secure scaling technology to build your own Orbit chain, giving you access to interoperable, customizable permissions with dedicated throughput. Whether you are a developer, an enterprise, or a user, Arbitrum Orbit lets you take your project to new heights. All of these technologies leverage the security and decentralization of Ethereum. Experience Web3 development the way it was always meant to be: secure, fast, cheap, and friction-free. Visit arbitrum.io and get your journey started in one of the largest Ethereum communities. Have you ever felt that the tools for developing decentralized applications are too restrictive and fail to leverage advancements from traditional software programming? There's a wide range of expressive building blocks beyond conventional smart contracts and Solidity development. Don't waste your time building the basics from scratch, and don't limit the potential of your vision. CARTESI provides powerful and scalable solutions for developers that supercharge app development. With a CARTESI virtual machine, you can run a full Linux OS and access decades of rich code libraries and open source tooling for building in Web3. And with CARTESI's unique rollup framework, you'll get real-world scaling and computation. No more competing for block space. So, if you're a developer looking to push the boundaries of what's possible in Web3, CARTESI is now offering up to $50,000 in grants. Head over to CARTESI's grant application page to apply today. And if you're not a developer, those with staked CTSI can take part in the governance process and vote on whether or not a proposal should be funded. Make sure you're vote ready by staking your CTSI before the votes open. Releasing Reth 1.0. This is a tweet out of the Georgios Konstantinopoulos, the CTO, now partner at Paradigm. He tweets out, after almost 2 years of development and a successful audit by Sigma Prime, we are finally releasing Reth 1.0, the first production-ready release of our blazing fast Ethereum execution client. We invite RPC providers and stakers to run Reth. Reth is Rust Ethereum. There's Geth, which was Go Ethereum, which was the first execution client for Ethereum. Now there's Reth. Georgios has been on this like Reth mission. There's the Rustations for all the people working on Ethereum Reth. And that's kind of like their meme. That's why the Reth is the symbol of a crab for the Rustations out there. Rust is just a really highly optimized coding language. To what I understand, people love Reth. Reth developers are in very hot demand. Now Ethereum has a Reth client. This is probably going to impact the Ethereum layer 1 not that much, although it's always cool to add clients to our client diversity. I expect Reth to become the dominant client for layer 2s because it's an execution client.
Yeah.
And so this is really going to allow Base to like turn up the juice, every single layer 2 to really turn up the juice. You put the execution client on the execution layers. And now we got the execution client to do that. This has been like Georgios's like pet project for, like he said, 2 years now. We finally get 1.0 out the door. And really this is actually where the game starts, because now people are going to start to use this client, and now the Peloton can start to grow. Like Georgios and a few other people have been, I don't know if people understand the Peloton metaphor. Do people understand the Peloton metaphor?
I do. I've heard you say it like, dozens of
50
times.
I love it. Okay. The Peloton is the line of bicycles that when you're watching the Tour de France, like it's very efficient because everyone is drafting in this one mob of people. So like it takes you almost no energy to bike in the Peloton, and you are going like max speed. The Peloton is fast. You cannot keep up with the Peloton if you are sprinting solo. So Georgios and a very few number of people have been building Reth, but now like Optimism gets to use Reth, like Base gets to use Reth. And so all
layer
these people
are gonna love it.
Are joining the Peloton, and it's going to increase in its like usefulness and utility.
This is how you optimize for it. You know how Jesse came on from Base and told us they're trying to get to GigaGas? They're going to do this with the help of Reth, really, right? Like that's core to Reth's roadmap. And by the way, on the venture side, David, we've seen so many different projects that are trying to build like parallelized EVMs as well. Yep. Right. So like run multiple, compute and resources in parallel and, challenge the SVM, I guess, on that dimension, bring that to the EVM. A lot of them are basing it on Reth as well. So this is like infrastructure to supercharge the execution layer of Ethereum. And I think it's like underhyped right now. It's going to be huge. It's all open source too. Your Peloton metaphor, MIT license, anyone can, snag it and use it, build on top of it. I was really excited about it earlier this week.
Yeah.
And speaking of excitement, let me tell you about MiCA, David.
Oh boy.
You ready for this?
All right. What do I need to know? Get me excited about
actually not
MiCA.
too much. I'm like, honestly, I'm not that excited about it. In fact, I have a counter take that's just not too excited. But what you need to know is MiCA has gone in place just for stablecoins. That has just like now happened. Some of the requirements are, this is EU legislation, by the way, if you're not familiar with this.
For all the European listeners out there.
Some landmark crypto legislation that happened in Europe. Some folks in the US were kind of like praising it. It's going to be interesting to see how it's implemented, because this is what they're doing with stablecoins. So it's going to prohibit any stablecoin that does not adhere to a 1-to-1 reserve ratio. Okay, prohibit it from like the exchanges, like anyone in the real world. I guess they can't touch DeFi. I don't know what that means, but also banning algo stablecoins. So sorry, Do Kwon. I don't know what this means for MKR. Like, is that a algo stablecoin? I'm actually not sure about that. Also, you have to obtain a license for your stablecoin, right? From the Electronic Money Institute, whatever that is. Also, you need regular audits. Some of this is good, right? I think some of this is good, but like some of it could be a bit heavy-handed, in particular the reserve requirements. So one of the challenges here is that some stablecoins might not check all of the boxes on MiCA, at least from day one, like Tether. Tether's huge. And so Tether is categorized right now as an unauthorized stablecoin. So you're actually...
Unauthorized stablecoin. What a word set.
So you're actually seeing Tether delisted on some major exchanges, or not completely delisted, I should say, but just like only available for certain products. Okay. So like really diminishing. This is a comment from the head of research at Outlier Ventures. Because the majority of all stablecoins are USD pegged, it is unlikely that many of them will be able to comply with MiCA in the short term. So European citizens might face limited access to trading, poor liquidity, and no access to more exotic crypto native investment opportunities. I mean, in the end, there's a question of like, well, maybe Europeans just don't have access to stablecoins on exchanges. And it's like, is that what Europe is trying to do here? Here's a take from Seth Hertlein, who's actually like bearish on a lot of this MiCA legislation. He's been involved in the trenches. He works over at Ledgers. He says this: many Americans who don't understand Europe still point to MiCA and suggest that the US is falling behind. But I'm a big proponent of beer systems theory, that the purpose of a system is what it does. And what it's doing is making the EU uncompetitive in yet another emerging tech sector. So he cites Bitstamp. Europe does not have any major exchanges at this point. Bitstamp just got like snapped up by Robinhood.
Native major exchanges.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's
KRAKEN is the biggest exchange in Europe.
And they're based in the US. Coinbase
that's ours,
based in
baby.
the US.
USA. Let's go.
Yeah. Robinhood based in the US. He's basically saying that like this type of legislation, regulation, like chokes it out. And Europe has a history of doing this. So like don't make the same mistakes in the US. So there you go. There's your MiCA update.
Great. It wasn't very optimistic at all. It's kind of a bummer, actually.
Yeah, I guess there's maybe a double-edged sword, but it could be more negative than positive, at least for Europeans who just want access to stablecoins.
Speaking of negative regulators, we got a tweet to talk about with Gary Gensler, who says, actually, let's just play this clip. Let's just play it. This is a clip about Gary Gensler talking about the crypto industry. He's talking about us.
This is a field that the leading lights from a couple years ago are either in jail, about to go to jail, or waiting extradition. Think about it. This is that field. That's the field right now where the public has really been harmed. And there's significant non-compliance in the field.
He's just like, keeps on doubling down on like the public's like lack of awareness of crypto. Like most people don't pay attention to crypto, and they're like, oh yeah, like that SBF guy, he went to jail. He was a fraudster. And maybe this Terra Luna thing that they might know about otherwise
feels
is
like
just
it's
SBF.
a scam.
Yeah, so he's like directionally correct. He's calling the leading lights of this industry. I don't know who he thinks is the leading lights of this industry. My leading lights of this industry are Brian Armstrong, Vitalik Buterin, Jesse from Base, like the KRAKEN, anyone who's fighting the SEC, honestly.
Hayden from Uniswap, like
who are
check
all
your lawsuits.
extremely compliant. And he's just like throwing shade at like all of our like leaders who are doing things extremely nobly.
Yeah.
Like Eric Voorhees' comment, like the Uniswap deserves a Nobel Peace Prize for having like orderly and efficient and fair markets.
But did you hear him say? I've heard him say something like this before. This is totally a prep take. You know, the leading lights are either like waiting extradition, and like in jail. Like this is a canned take from him, and he is like propagating this narrative wherever he has an opportunity.
Catherine Minerick, who's the chief legal officer over at Uniswap Labs, the new chief legal officer over at Uniswap, says, this is an irresponsible way for a regulator to characterize the leaders of an entire industry, which includes so many individuals deeply committed to making the world a better place for everyone, not to mention multiple U.S. public companies. Anyways, moving on to other Gary Gensler L's, the Supreme Court has just ruled in a 6-3 vote that when the SEC seeks penalty for fraud from someone, when they go after someone for fraud, a defendant is entitled to a jury trial in federal court as opposed to being subjected to the agency's in-house legal proceedings. AKA, you gotta win in the wild. You don't get to just like hire your own judges to do your own legal proceedings. Kind of like crazy it wasn't like that in the first place. But either way, like Gary's like, no, Gary, you have to fight on fair terms.
This is great. This is the courts like slapping him back a little bit and just like rogue regulators that, overexpress their power and just, like restoring some balance to the court system, I think is incredibly healthy. And that's what this does.
Remember that court case, Debt Box or something, where the judge just got furious with the SEC lawyers for like lying to the judge? Yeah, yep. This might be like blowback from that. This is a meme out of Miles Jennings, which is the say the line Bart Twitter format, except Bart is actually Burns, who looks a lot like Gary Gensler. And the line is, I unlawfully exceeded my authority. And we're not done yet. Coinbase is suing the SEC and the FDIC for, quote, crippling crypto. So Coinbase has filed a lawsuit against the SEC and the FDIC. The FDIC is in the part of the Treasury Department, alleging that these federal regulators are attempting to undermine the cryptocurrency industry. The lawsuit claims that these agencies have pressured banks to deny crypto firms access to the federal banking system, which Coinbase argues is a deliberate effort to cripple the digital asset industry. Sounds like Chokepoint 2.0. That's exactly what this is. As a result of this suit, Coinbase seeks to obtain internal documents through a Freedom of Information Act to shed light on these regulatory actions. So basically, Coinbase is suing to be able to see documents to see what the conspiracy was and see if we can like see anything.
Great.
Like what
skeletons
skeletons do they have in their closet is basically what's going on.
It's so good to see crypto going on the offensive. And it's not just doing it in kind of like the courts. It's also doing it with respect to political races. Like you're seeing the super PACs being active that are crypto funded. Also, I don't know if you saw this week, David, the Winklevoss twins donated $2 million in Bitcoin to the Trump campaign. Now,
Almost.
It turns out that they went over the donation amount, so you can only donate $844,000 according to like the law.
But
so
they maxed it out.
They
donated the
max.
max.
Give some of that back. And this in general is like the Winklevoss has been super active in the 2024 election campaigns. A whole bunch of crypto people have. This is why Trump has come out as the pro crypto president against, as he says, like Biden's anti-crypto army. One question I had, so we're recording this on a Thursday. Apparently, I just learned about this. I don't know where I've been, but there's a presidential debate going on tonight. Biden and Trump. What do you think the odds are that there's a crypto question in there? Like, given Trump's rhetoric, given like maybe we are overly focused on this and it's like no one else cares about crypto and it won't be asked. But like, what are the odds you think that there's something to do with crypto in this debate?
I'm going to go on the minority likelihood on that one.
So you say no.
I don't think Trump will. It's not smart to hang crypto over the head of Biden and say, I'm the crypto president, because like the people watching that, like the industry is already watching Trump be quote unquote the crypto president. The marginal viewer who's watching that, I don't think is going to be swayed by Trump, boasting his like cryptoness. And I don't think it's gonna come from the moderator. The moderator's not gonna ask a crypto question because they probably don't care.
That's a good take. However, I'm going to say that there is a question. And I just think that
can I get my bragging rights NFT back if I win?
That sounds fair, actually.
All right.
Actually, so first you have to, in order to do this, though, you have to mint the NFT.
All right,
Give it to me.
I have to go do that.
Because I won the ETH pitch. Do that. But let's make an official.
right.
Let's make an official bet. You can
bet
get
number
that
2?
thing back. Yeah.
If
I get to
okay.
keep it for some period of time. You can't
Yeah.
just. We only had it for a
You
day.
get to hold on to it for as long as time as I forgot to mint it and give it to you.
So let's set the rules. So if crypto is mentioned in some form of a question, or Trump or Biden mention crypto,
Yeah.
then I get it. And like that's my. And you're saying that's not mentioned at all. Nothing to do with crypto.
It's not mentioned. Crypto is
Okay.
not mentioned.
All right, fair. We'll see. This is
come on.
now you're gonna get me to watch a presidential debate. I guess I have to now.
No, if it does get mentioned, Twitter will just blow up.
Perfect. David, some raises on the week. First, Mega ETH. What is Mega ETH?
Mega ETH is a pretty hot deal that's been going around the VC space. Mega ETH is a layer 2 on Ethereum that is kind of uniquely different. They're trying to just go the hyper centralized sequencer with like decentralized prover route, but just like the whole point of layer 2 is like you get to actually be like meaningfully decentralized, just to have your powers checked by provers.
Sure.
So they're just cramming everything into data center memory. So
put
Mega
it in
ETH
memory.
is like put it in a
Big
big
data
whopping
center.
data center, put it all in memory, have the
Dial
little
it
guy
up.
be able to check the validity of it via proving, and it is going to be the most juice layer 2 of all time. So that's why it's been like pretty hot in the VC space, led by Dragonfly. Dragonfly has just been kind of killing it this year with participation from Figment, Robot Ventures, Tangent, Credibly Neutral, that is Victor Bunen's fund, and a bunch of angels, including Vitalik Buterin, Joseph Lubin, Sriram, Santiago, Kobe Hazu, Mert from Solana, who loves layer 2s.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, right.
100,000 TPS, David.
Yeah,
You believe
$20
it?
million seed round. They raised $20 million in a seed round, which
Big
is a
expectations.
juicy, chunky seed round.
I think
so
it's
yeah.
cool. I like the
Yeah.
architecture. I think it's cool. That's not all, David. A Bankless Ventures disclosure is Conduit just got their Series A. What is Conduit? What's the context here?
Conduit is a roll-up as a service provider. This is their second raise. They host a bunch of roll-ups. They actually built the rollup.wtf website that we were looking at earlier on the show. We were talking about all the networks being alive. That's their website. They host so many different roll-ups that you probably are aware of. They host Mode, they host Avo, Zora, DGen Network is them, Proof of Play. They've got $1.2 billion in TVL on the roll-ups that they host. It's basically like a easy button to deploy a rollup, and you can literally go to their website and deploy a rollup. You don't even have to talk to them. There's a form you can fill out. Pretty cool business model. They handle 20% of all Ethereum transactions. And so if you think that Ethereum will have infinity rollups, of which I do, you would need something like Conduit, rollup as a service provider. And like I said, they just raised their Series A, co-led by Paradigm, who led their seed round a couple of years ago, and also Katie Han Ventures. Other investors, us, Bankless Ventures, Coinbase Ventures, also Credibly Neutral, What's Up, Victor, and Robot Ventures. And then angels Hayden, Adams, Tim Bako, Zaki, Mustafa, Nick White, Sriram, and Tarun Chitra, as well as others.
As we close the thing out, let's talk about a few Bankless Citizen updates. The first is we put a call out to Bankless Citizens for podcast suggestions. David, I haven't looked at this. I looked at this once, but it looks like we've got a whole bunch of dozens of submissions here.
34 submissions for a suggested Bankless podcast episode, one of which we will do.
Yeah. Okay. So what happens now? So I'm seeing Vitalik and Gavin Wood as a suggestion. I'm seeing Jordan Lyle, Prohibition. What's this? Prohibition.art. I think I remember. Based. I want to see Jesse in Bankless. I did see someone suggested Mert.
Yep, someone suggested Mert.
Someone's really going to have to vote that up for us to do. But
mteam.lens suggests the great sequencing debate with Justin Drake and a few other sequencers. That's my favorite, but I only get one vote as a Bankless citizen.
Okay, so what happens now? So these are all the suggestions. Is there like a round 2 now where Bankless citizens go and vote on what podcast episode we're going to do?
So yeah, there was a 1 week submission period, which is coming to an end by the time Bankless listeners listen to this, that it will have ended. And then there will be a 1 week voting period. So if you're a Bankless citizen and you have your 2022 or 23 or 24 POAP, go to that wallet, and that wallet will have one vote in it, and you'll be able to go vote for one of the 34 podcast episodes. And then we will do whichever podcast episodes come first. Well, I mean, like, if somebody wants Ray Dalio, did they put Ray Dalio as a vote?
We will ask.
I also want Ray Dalio.
Yes.
I hope to get you that no matter what. That'd be really cool. So we're gonna do our best. And then if the number one is like Ray Dalio, but we just can't get him, we'll just go down to number two. But one of these podcast episodes is getting done in order of votes.
Also, David, we've got some travel scheduled. At least you do. You've got some travel scheduled in July, including a conference at ETHCC and a Bankless event. What's this?
Oh yeah, so Monday of ETHCC, if you are in ETHCC in Brussels and you are also a Bankless citizen or a previous Bankless podcast guest or a Bankless sponsor, hit us up because we got drinks on rooftop bar. It's going to be sick. That's Monday, July 8th. That's 4 p.m. Brussels time. So if you are in the Discord, hit us up for the link or DM me or something. There's not that many spots left. We're coming on down to like 30 or 40 spots left. And so, yeah, it's going to be cool to hang out with all of you. It's good to see everyone in person.
And then, David, you were going to go climb a mountain the following week, right?
That's right. In protest of current prices, I've decided to do something. And so right after ETHCC, I'm going to go over to Chamonix and climb Mount Blanc. Let's ignore the fact that I misspelled Mount. Mount Blanc. It's a 15,000 foot mountain. It's pretty cool.
Have you done this one before?
No, but I've done the Matterhorn, which is actually harder than Mount Blanc. But also it's harder but shorter. This is longer, taller, but easier.
Okay, so what was easier, David Matterhorn, like training for that, or training for the David Hoffman, Nick Carter fight?
Oh God, training for the fight was way harder.
Really?
The fight that didn't happen.
Getting broken ribs?
Yeah, I've never got a broken rib while climbing a mountain.
All right, David. Well, we wish you well on the mountain climb, and good things happen in crypto when you're gone.
I hope to bring back higher prices.
That's the goal. I think you will. Meme of the week. What are we looking at, David?
This is another Bitwise commercial. We all know the Mac and PC commercials where now we're doing Big Finance and Ethereum. And so let's go ahead and listen to the commercial.
Big Finance. Did you change?
What? No. I'm always like this. You want to hang out? When moon, man.
Do you even know what that means?
No, I do not.
That's
kind of helps to you watching it on the screen, but yeah, Big Finance is wearing a blockchain T-shirt and he's holding a pudgy penguin, which is.
Do you notice his hat?
Yeah, an Ethereum hat.
Yeah, Ethereum hat. He's just like totally posing as a blockchain
it's like
expert.
How do you do, fellow kids, kind of thing.
That's good. I mean, these
they keep rolling them out on Twitter, and I love them.
Yeah, they're great. All right, guys. And with this, of course, crypto is risky. You could lose what you put in, but we are headed west. This is the frontier, not for everyone, but we're glad you're with us on the Bankless journey. Thanks a lot.
And also, just what's going up? Oh. Shut up, Brian.
That's good.